I bought a multi-million-dollar revenue business at 26 years old. Yes, I bought one, not started one. So I have existing clients, existing staff, and this is in a completely different state than where I'm from and where I even live. Don't let that scare you, because this process is not as expensive as it sounds. It is 100% doable for anybody who likes a challenge, but I will tell you that there's a lot more to this process than people think there is. So this video right here is the real story of how I did this process myself, all the ups and downs I had in this journey of buying this business, and honestly, whether I would do it again. I'm here to show you how this exactly works, using what actually happened to me as proof, because I believe that buying a business is the best investment that you can make in 2026. But the best thing is that I could truly spend 10 to 15 hours a week in my business if I wanted to. Now, this could be in person, this could be remote, totally depends on the business you buy. Personally, I'm in a hybrid situation, so I visit my office about 4 or 5 days of the month is typical. Before we start, if you find this interesting, please go ahead and subscribe, because there will be a lot more content coming. The most surprising thing about this entire journey is that buying the business was not even the hard part. I think that that's what people think the giant hill to get over is, finding the deal, analyzing it, getting it approved for financing. Don't get me wrong, okay? All of those things are important, and I'll make a whole video about SBA loans and financing. But here's what nobody prepared me for. Closing day is not the finish line. Nobody hands you a manual and says, hey, here's how to operate the business that you just bought. No, it's just you. Now, every single decision in that building or in that organization is on your shoulders. All of those employees are looking up to you, wondering what's gonna change. You realize that you just spent the last 3 to 6 months working on your entry. The real work starts now. The experience of buying and running a business is so meaningful, I actually don't even think I can put it into words. When I signed that paperwork on the final day, it really sank in that I'm responsible for putting food on the table for 100 employees. 100 employees and their families. I don't even think most humans can comprehend that level of responsibility, and it is scary as hell. So here's how I break down the buying process and what it actually looked like for me. Understanding the landscape, learning the turf and the terms, right? You need to sound like you know what you're talking about. This is really important when you start talking to brokers and lenders, right? You want to be able to present yourself a certain way. And you also want to understand the numbers you're looking at and the numbers you're scouting. Next, I started reviewing deals. So I spent 30 to 60 days just scrolling through business listings on BizBuySell and BizScout, which are both really good websites. They really help you learn the market. And also, the more that you study them, the more listings you look at, you start to understand why business A is more expensive than business B, and why certain businesses are priced the way they are. The more you study them, the better you get at scouting a good deal. Next is broker communication. I started inquiring on businesses that intrigued me because I wanted to learn more about them, but I also wanted to start a relationship with these brokers. This is really important because brokers are like realtors. You got to get yourself in front of them, okay? You got to be willing to call, email, do whatever you need to do so they know you're serious, so they want to talk to you. They do not need to know your entire life story, okay? The best line to use is to inquire and say, hey, I've been looking for a business like this for a while. I would love to sign an NDA and take a deeper look at the financials. That right there, that statement tells them that you know your shit, that this is somebody that is already on their game. I did this on 10 to 15 different businesses so I could really start to understand what makes a good deal. And what the broker's job is to put this business in a pretty little package that delivers you all the information that you need to know. So for example, how big the team is, how much revenue it did the last 3 years, the location, the EBITDA, the size, right? All the things that make you go, maybe I'm interested. Personally, I was looking for a business that is unskilled because I am not particularly skilled in anything. I came from marketing and sales. So, if I was a lawyer, I'd buy a law office. If I was a plumber, I would buy a plumbing company, right? I think that you should pick a business in an area that suits you, that looks like you represent it, or you could do it. I think that it will make you more successful in the end. My plan from day one was to always buy a business that has an operator or a general manager on site, because I don't need to do the day-to-day work, but I do feel like if you're the owner, you should know how to do the day-to-day work. So after about 4 months, I did find a business that had the 3 things I was looking for. First was the specific cash flow for the amount of money that I wanted to make when purchasing this business. Second would be that it had aspects that I could enhance or grow to take the company to the next level. And third would be that I could truly find an interest in it. That is not required, but I definitely think that it would make it more enjoyable. So I talked with a broker, I met the sellers, we hit it off, and then we started talking price, financing, and negotiations. So there's usually 2 options here: seller finance or an SBA loan, or you could use both. So SBA loans are government-backed loans that only require you to bring 10% of the money to the table, which is pretty cool. But what's even cooler is seller financing, because that means that you can make a deal with the owner and you can pay them an agreed upon amount over time every single month from the revenue of the business. So that means that you could truly buy a business in full seller finance and only bring the money to the table for the closing costs. I cannot say this enough. Your goal should be to form a relationship, a really good relationship with the seller, because you two hold the keys to what this deal is. You truly make the deal possible and make it whatever you want it to be. So most businesses want to sell for a 4x or a 5x multiple. The business that I bought was selling for a 2.3x multiple, which was a pretty good deal. So I agreed to the price and I chose not to negotiate. I bought this business using a 7A SBA loan. There are tons of banks that are SBA lenders, and this is a whole nother topic I can do a video on so you understand how to get this financing approved. But what you also can do is when you start this journey, you can reach out to SBA banks and they will give you a pre-approval for how much money they're willing to lend you for a business. So you actually know, well, what can I buy? So once we agree to a price and I got my financing started, we sign an LOI. This is a letter of intent. This is just like when you're looking at a house and you say, you know what, I'm gonna do my own inspection. So an LOI says I'm committing to learning this business on a deeper level and I'm gonna go into the due diligence phase. Due diligence is a phase where you get to ask the sellers and the broker and anyone for any information that you feel like you need to know in order to commit to buying this business. This process usually takes probably a month or a month and a half. It's really dependent on you. You're basically saying, I want to see all the taxes, all the bank statements, everything that the business owns, so I know that you're not selling me a lemon and I know what I'm buying at the end of the day. Once I started due diligence is when I got my deal team. So your deal team really should just be a lawyer and an accountant. This is all you need to get you across the finish line. The accountant is really good for inequality of earnings. They will help you analyze the cash flow and the finances of the business, which is very, very helpful during due diligence. Your lawyer is really there to help draft the documents for closing day. From there, my SBA team was very hands-on. They honestly held my hand throughout the entire process, and they do this because they also make money on this deal, so they want to make sure it goes through. They're going to help you look really good for the underwriter. They'll help you with your business plan, with your resume, and of course, they're going to go through the business, and they're only going to lend money to it if they know the business is producing the way the sellers say it is. Once everything was finalized, I decided on a day, and the sellers and I both signed the APA, which is what the lawyers draft. It is the asset purchase agreement. It has everything that's going from the seller to you. And voila, I became an owner and the business was officially transferred to me. You're probably wondering, well, what the hell did you buy? I bought a non-medical home care company. So we take care of the elderly in their home. And I knew this was a good choice because 10,000 people turn 65 every day. This is really a business that I see as essential. And I think essential businesses are one of the smartest decisions you could make. I also just love that we sell a good service. I mean, a service that truly helps people and it makes you feel good at the end of the day. There's not a lot of businesses that can say that. And the location that I purchased was a very successful location, and since I've taken it over, I have grown it significantly. I looked at it and I knew that I could digitize it and I could modernize it. This business purchase has been a major success, but it almost didn't happen. I actually had another deal on the table that I knew didn't seem right. I had a bad gut feeling about it, but I signed the APA before everything was finalized, pretty much, which is a really good learning lesson, because if you sign the APA and you choose not to buy the business, you can get yourself sued. That was a huge learning lesson for me, and thankfully the seller and I came to an agreement. We both agreed this wasn't the right fit, so he did let me out of the deal legally, which I am super thankful for. Looking back on it, there were just so many red flags that I was choosing not to see just because the deal sounded too good to be true. Right now, the deal that you get into should feel like the one. You should be both feet in, and the deal should make more sense as time goes on, not less. So, would I do it all over again? Yeah. I would, but I wouldn't do it the same way. I'd still buy a business. I think that the ROI and the wealth that you can build from owning a business is the best that you'll find. Ownership has truly rocked my world. Like, it changed the way I see finances, how I see time, how I see myself. It is truly an experience that I wouldn't trade for anything. But if I could go back, I would walk in with complete clarity, okay? I would know these terms before the brokers use them on me. I would know the red flags before I find myself in one, and I would talk to someone who's actually done this before. That's actually why I built the toolkit. It's everything I wish I knew before I started this process and really looking into it. If you find that interesting, I'll link it for you in my bio below. It has everything in one place. The goal is to get clear about what you want and how you want your life to look if you choose to buy a business and become an owner. If you like to learn and you like this type of content, I will be posting weekly about buying a business, the ins and outs, the finances, what my first year looked like. Subscribe so you don't miss it.